can't get no rest. No, no, I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. No, no, this ain't easy, darling, 'cause the devil's on my trail. I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more. Oh yeah, I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more. Oh no, it ain't easy, darling, when the devil's on my trail. Oh yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of 6 Feet Apart with Sean and TJ. We're here once again at Felix C. Martin Jr. Hall. If there's something you're interested in, let us know. info@felixmartinhall.org, and we'll get your information and see what's on your mind. And on our mind today is our guest, our very special guest, Miss Melanie Boggess, who is the owner and operator and chief everything doer at Encore Dance Studio here in Greenville, as well as our vice president of Magical Miscellanea
Right.
here at Martin Hall.
That's true.
She does it all. So welcome, Mel.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We don't get to sit down and talk very often.
It's
is nice,
usually
though.
just in passing, or hey, do this, grab this, can you do this?
Right.
And there's a lot of that going on.
Right.
So welcome.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Always glad to have you here. We've missed you.
I missed you too. I miss being here. This feels like your most comfortable pair of flip-flops being here. I
Nice.
missed it.
I like that.
You're welcome.
We should put that on a poster.
We should. We should.
Not many people say that about us.
Right.
Hey,
We call our first segment Bridging the Gap. So for those who don't know you as well as your comfortable pair of flip-flops here,
Are you left or right?
I don't care.
Okay. All right.
I'm
I'll
the one
be-
that got kicked over and can't find under the bed somewhere,
Okay.
probably.
I'll be left. You can be right.
Because I'm always right. Yeah,
Uh,
for once in my life. So give our viewers a little background about yourself, who you are, what you do, how you got started doing it.
okay.
All
All
that fun
right.
stuff.
Well, I'm from here. I'm
Right.
proud to say I'm from here. I graduated from Greenville High School in 1985.
Right.
Go Blackhawks.
Right on.
Where I loved marching band and cheerleading, and my siblings were involved in football and all those things, and had a delightful upbringing here. Went to Western Kentucky University.
Go Tops.
Go Toppers. Wish I had paid more attention to some things in those 5 years of my life, but I graduated
Don't we
with a bachelor's degree in performing arts and learned a lot. All of it's been valuable. Where's the camera? If your kids want to go get that kind of degree, don't discourage them and tell them they can't feed themselves and make a living, because they can. Anyway, so did time in the costume shop and the scene shop, and along with dance rehearsals, and did lots of productions, and look back on that as a great time in my life.
Skills that have served you well since we've drafted you here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Served us well, too.
Served us better than you, maybe, but
But little known fact, when I went to Western, I was not a dancer. I came from Greenville, and when I was a little girl, I think I took a year of dance from Miss Brenda Wade
Right.
in her basement of her house, and what a blessing that was. But there wasn't a dance school here like that. When I went to Western, I didn't know what I was going to do. Took a bunch of general ed classes and really felt like I wanted to audition for the dance company. Don't know why, but I did. I didn't have any shoes. I was barefoot at the audition, along with these awesome kids from Y Pass and all these other places that were just amazing. And here I was. I think I had a leotard that I got at, I don't know, probably Goodwill. I was barefoot. That's the way it went. But the dance company director there saw that it was important to me, and she gave me a chance. She said, "You stand in the back over there behind her, and you're gonna have to earn your space. You're gonna have to earn your space here." So I said, "Okay." And it took me 5 years to finish college because I worked full time, had to pay for it, you know. But I look back on that as a great time in my life. If someone hadn't given me the chance, even though I had no skills, no talent at the time, only just a will to do it, you know. So I try to share that story with our teenage dancers as they're starting to try to figure out what they're doing. And I'm saying everybody doesn't come from the same place, but everybody won't have the same heart either.
Right.
So you may not have the benefit of coming from a magnet performing arts high school, but someone will open the door for you, and then you've got to take the initiative to charge through that door and don't disappoint. But enough about me.
Yeah. Well, did you keep up with her through the years? Is
Oh,
she still
sure,
around?
yeah,
I'm sure you did.
absolutely, yeah. She's an amazing mentor. Mrs. Beverly Vinker, she was the director of the dance department there at Western for many years, but she has a wonderful retired life. She and Ron on Holden Beach
Oh,
now,
nice.
where they raise little dogs and say we're all welcome to come anytime. But have some great friends from that time who are in the industry and doing great things, and it's wonderful to keep up with all of them. But graduated from school and wanted to take the furthest away job I could find. That's the truth. So, in the green room at Western, there was a poster that they were looking for a dance teacher in Bangor, Maine, because the dance school there had had a teacher who was married to someone who was stationed at the Air Force Base there. And so they came to New Western's program for producing teachers from that time, and so I applied for that job, never having been that far north. Not really sure. I thought, Maine, there's probably some lumberjacks, like cold weather, but I like snow, so I took that contract never having even been there.
Wow.
I know. My parents were probably terrified, but I lived in Maine for 15 years and taught and managed businesses and had a Life Point 1.0 there. And after 15 years, I came back in touch with my high school sweetheart who said, "You need to come home. We want you here. I miss you. Can't you come live here? You could be happy here." So we rented the largest Ryder rental truck there was and brought everything and 2 dachshunds and me all here. And we were married in the living room of our house with no furniture because we just bought the house. He bought the house without me having seen it so that we would have a house when we got here.
The same house you're in now.
Because that's what love does.
That's right.
That's right. So wasn't long after having moved here that my high school friends had teenage daughters and young daughters, and they were all after me about, "You need to open a dance school. You need to open a dance school." And I think, I don't want to. That's going to be so much work. Yes, you should. That's what you need to do. Yes, so I did. I don't regret it at all. This last year was the first batch of students that started when they were 3 and went through our whole program and graduated high school.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
And right now I have students who are having babies who are 2, almost 3, and once they're 3, then they're old enough for my class. So that'll wake you up, won't it?
So it's time for the next generation.
There you go.
Wow.
Well, a lot of things have happened at dance school. We started with a building that was had been cold storage for Uncle Lee's for many years. When we first had the water turned on, the water shot up through the street where the pipes had disintegrated. We had to have new water lines, and there were every species of spider living in there because the building had been just cold storage. So over the years, we've added a little more dance floor, a few more mirrors, some carpeting here or there, and we just continued to improve things. over time, we've added some exceptional teachers, so my job isn't as big as it used to be. We have some great teachers. Michaela Berry loves teaching ballet, loves it, studies it, is really a student of it. I'm excited for the kids to have the opportunity to study with her. And Morgan Smith teaches our hip hop classes and combo classes, and she keeps us in tune with what's cool and hip right now, because sometimes I slide and don't know those things.
I don't know that I've ever known.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
still
Well, it's
don't
good
know.
to have an outlet, you know.
According to my kids, I still
Ally.
don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And you never will.
I
according
never
to them.
will, according to them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many students usually come through in a year?
This past season, we had 78. Through some years, we've had as few as 50. It's gotten as big as over 100 from time to time.
Goodness.
We lost many students because of all of the uncertainty with TVA. You know, dance is not a necessity of life, and parents will sacrifice a lot for their kids to be able to take that class. But that's one of the first things that's got to go when a family's got to be careful with their money, and those kids are so worried. You know, dance is important to them, and when they have to give that up, it's something big in their life, and it causes such anxiety. But you know, that TVA closure has just caused ripples, and it's sad. It's sad that the kids have to give that up.
Well, like you mentioned a while ago, to have that outlet and to know you've always got something that's yours, I know how important that is. And so when you don't have that.
Right, right. Well, at dance, the thing is the encouragement. We offer a steady stream of encouragement. We're glad to see them. Each week they're happy to come in. You know, they get to accomplish something and get compliments for that. And there's not enough of that in the world for even us adults. But I know that the kids who come in that door get that encouragement there. And if we don't succeed at anything, we may not produce dancers who go on to be dancers in the world, but I think all of our kids stand a little straighter. They're more confident. They're comfortable in a setting where they've got to be seen, and you know, building that self-esteem is just so important. It's not just learning steps. It's the extra thing that comes with it.
And within that positive feedback, it's also real. You know, there are expectations, there are responsibilities, there are, you know, and you keep it real with them. I appreciate seeing that.
Well, I like to think that they know I'll tell them the truth.
Right.
If we many times we've come here on this Martin Hall stage to do a performance, and the kids' nerves get ahead of them, or maybe they haven't practiced when they should have, and it just doesn't look good. And I won't tell them it looks good if it doesn't. I'll say, I'll give that a D-, but I'm certain you can do better. And I think that builds that trust. They know I'm not going to tell them, oh, that's awesome, honey, good job, if it wasn't. So, you know, I come to feel about those kids like, I mean, it's cliche, but they feel like daughters in a lot of ways, because I see them from when they're little. They don't even remember meeting me. I mean, they're 3 when they come in sometimes.
Right.
You know, they're just barely potty trained. I've just always been in their life. And I see when they come in crying because they've broken up with a boyfriend that day at school, or you know, these 2 are friends and those 2 aren't, and the rift that happens. And sometimes we have to have group therapy sometimes. You know, you bring that many teens together at the same time.
It's
sometimes
bound to happen, isn't it? Yeah.
Doesn't always go great.
Right.
But we work through those things. And lots of kids move on. Kids have to be free to find their thing. You know, they may take a year of dance and decide they really want to do dance team, and the schedules don't match. Or they want to do marching band, and that's a great time commitment. It's a great program, but our program and their program just don't mesh very well. So I want them to try it. I want them to feel free to leave if it's not for them. And often they come back. So, you know, caring about the kids means encouraging them to do what makes them happy and where they fill their cup up. And it might be with me, it might be with band, it might be with cheerleading, it could be with something else, but they've got to find their way. And we as adults have to be responsible to not make them feel guilty if they move on.
Right. Well, I can attest to, the love and the challenges and the work ethic that those kids find there, because Delaney is in a couple of those classes, or was prior to all this, and she, one, absolutely loves it, is not worried so much what you're going to think, but it's a healthy worry. She's like, I got to work on this, and I got to get more flexible because it needs to look right.
Sure.
And I'm being held to this high standard, which I think is, as a parent, is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I mean, she loves it. It is another outlet for her, and she didn't know she was going to love it as much as she does until she was there for a full year, for a full cycle there. And then it was ballet and I guess theater dance, or is that what it is?
Dance and musical theater.
She loves it.
And that's something new that
Absolutely
you
love it.
started just in the last year or two, right? The musical theater.
Yes, and I hesitated to do that class because I knew how physically difficult it would be for me. But we've had a great time with that class. We did some really challenging tap dancing this last season, and there is just no better exercise than tap dancing.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
So
And you're never too old to learn.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Adult tap dancing is great because you're old enough to have right and left balance, and you can learn that at any age. You can hear immediately if it's correct. It's a great thing to learn.
TJ said
We'll
he was
talk.
gonna
We'll
he was
talk.
gonna take
Yeah.
that up. Well, that is a program that does mesh pretty well, and that being the drama program here, and I know the summer or the spring musicals have
Right.
been the fortunate recipient of your talents for many years,
Mhm.
and some of the big production numbers have just been amazing in the fact that you've taken these kids who are not dancers,
Right.
and able to share that and bring that out of them.
Well, I think I usually start the conversation every time we start on the musical saying, if you weren't a dancer before, you may be a dancer now. By the end of this, you're going to be. Everybody can do something. And we're always surprised at some of the kids in the cast that really grab hold of it and really excel at it. We've had some great pirates. We've had some great Indians, all of these different roles. And
Blind mice.
those big
Yeah.
ensemble groups it's amazing when you get all those kids moving at the same time.
Well, this spring we had plates and forks and
Plates and
knives and
forks.
spoons and
Cutlery.
napkins and all kinds of stuff
Right.
running around. So.
I don't help pick that show each year. I usually wait to hear what it is, like everyone else. Usually the kids know before I do, but I also don't get involved with the casting. I always say, you pick them and then we'll work with what we've got, because I always like to think that any kid who really wants to do it, we'll give them a chance. We'll give them a chance. Any kid who commits the time, whose parents are committed to getting them here, if they'll put in 100%, then we'll meet them with that.
Does that go back because you were afforded that chance in college? you
Well,
think?
maybe. Ooh, look at that!
Ooh.
How you connected that?
Pretty good.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it's true.
Right.
Wouldn't you rather have 50 kids who maybe don't have that much experience, but they're all really excited and eager to try?
You want to do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that'd be awesome. So the musical is always fun. Now, like I said, we never have the opportunity to sit. We're missing a few members of our team at this moment because I'm in the spotlight today, but it takes such a great group of people to make that seem so seamless for the kids, and those on the stage and others who make that happen for them. It really is a gift, and they won't realize that until later, that they had a whole team of adults who were giving all they had of their personal time and putting all of their life aside to give them that awesome opportunity. They'll get that later. I don't think they get it at the time that it's happening.
And that's something that's been kind of a hallmark of this place since it opened. Something that David and Leslie and everyone that came before us,
Right.
and then you were there from the beginning. The Cheneys were a big part of that,
Right.
Sure.
in making sure that culture started the right way and has grown from there. I think last summer when we were doing Charlie Brown at the Palace with far less bells and whistles than are available here, I think I made the statement that we're we're trying to give these kids a Martin Hall experience on a Palace budget,
Right.
and that's sort of the precedent that's been set here.
Mhm.
And so, thank you for helping put that bar where it is.
It's been my pleasure, and we always have great audiences. Always, kids are excited to perform, and the audience is anxious to see what they do. No matter what show it is,
Right.
we always have that community support for them. They're very fortunate.
There
was a time. I'm sorry to interrupt. There was a time when we built a stage in the Commons area, or we borrowed a church cafegimatorium or whatever.
Right. Tore it down every night and put it back up every
built
night.
a stage, took it down so they could do church Sunday morning. This facility has been such a blessing. But we remember how it used to be. They're so fortunate.
We figure usually for the spring musicals, because they perform for all the high school students, and for the school day shows for the middle school and elementary schools, and plus the public performances, they perform for 3,000 people in a weekend.
Right.
Can you imagine when we were in school having the chance to do that?
No.
No. I'd have been scared out of my mind.
Right. Right.
But that's not that that's not enough to keep you busy.
Right.
There's been some big changes going on at Encore and with things. So
there have been some big changes, absolutely. Along with my very busy in-home dog sitting service, which I also run, the Fairy Dog Mother, which has been very busy. We have done in this COVID time where everything is so crazy. The timing couldn't have been better or worse, depending upon your opinion. But we had started a major remodeling project in the back half of the dance school, and that room in the back had been used for a lot of things over time, but really we hadn't invested much in it. It was just extra storage space and that kind of thing. So we initially had the idea that we would, paint it, clean it up a little bit, and use it for, parties or just, extra space for whatever. As projects go, sometimes you start with a small project, they become a very large project. Snowballs do that too.
Right.
We now have an amazing facility several months later, with a state-of-the-art wireless sound system, completely handicap and barrier-free accessible. It's been a long road getting it there. We use local contractors, tried to buy all of our supplies locally when we could. It has been an amazing project, from a complete rewiring to getting all of the heat and air systems working.
Bathroom remodel.
New bathroom units, men's and women's separate bathrooms, water fountains, accent lighting, security system.
Almost as many bathrooms as we have here.
Right.
No, don't go there. That is not true, but it's witty that you said it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that it is a handicap accessible facility. I look for it to be a place for families to have, if you've got a large family and you've outgrown your house for Thanksgiving or office Christmas parties. But the neat thing, my husband Joe, of course, is a musician. The music part of it was the impetus for all of that. He and his brothers both play guitar. They're a musical family. We wanted to have a place large enough for big family gatherings that's wired and set up for people to just come, plug and play. And I think it was a dream of his. So it is that now. We've done a lot to get it soundproofed and to deal with the acoustics in the room. So, so far we're not booking parties yet. I'm kind of waiting to see how COVID settles down. It has worked really well in this time frame because the building's been closed. So we had lots of drywall dust and demolition and craziness to get to that. I look for it to be, parties of 100 or less, thereabout. I'm working now, talking with some folks about a list of caterers and some different packages that folks could use if they wanted to do a wedding, or I personally am going to have my funeral there. It's in my notes. Not everybody is comfortable with a church funeral, you know. My funeral will be at Joe B's. Oh,
Speaking of,
Show the camera right there in the center.
Joe B's. So
Perfect.
it's a funny little caricature of my husband.
quite a likeness. I like that.
Thanks. We also have guitar picks and cups.
Yes.
It's nice. So there's a service kitchen where caterers can use the kitchen to bring in food. We've got this week we have a mason coming to do some new entrances, a new handicap ramp. We've added another exit, some parking spaces, lots of things going on this week. So I think we'll be ready to start talking about Christmas parties. Of course, the world's upside down right now. None of us knows when things will be wide open. No way to know that. But our space is large enough that I think everyone can keep their distance.
It's a large
and
space.
still be in the law.
It's definitely a large space.
Still be in the law.
It's a beautiful
But
space.
there's a comfortable lounging area, you know, for Granny to sit comfortably while everybody else is dancing on the dance floor. All of the areas have USB phone charging ports. We really did take time to think of details. We chose a flooring that if someone spills red Kool-Aid, one piece can be taken up and replaced. So I think it will have longevity. And I look forward to it being a space for community use. You know, it would be great for family gatherings. And if you have a family that's musical, you know, a place that you can enjoy listening to your family play guitar or piano and invite your family and sit and enjoy. I think it's unique because Joe and I really did it the way to be like, to feel like home. You know, it's not really a reception facility. I had trouble even figuring out what to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like a nice living room couch area. Of course, we've got a giant television and streaming, and but the stage is set up, and anyone could walk up. The drum set is there. It's ready to play. So now that will fit hand in hand with dance school, because dance school is afternoons after school, you know, and most parties would be on the weekends. And the reason, the initial impetus to do the room was to help dance school pay the bills and be able to survive, because we were going to lose a lot of students with TVA and the shrink that's coming from that problem. So I'm going to be relying on the community to book this room. Do your part to help the dance school and book Joe B's for your next office party.
So what do they, in order to book it, when you're ready to start booking, how do they call you? They call the dance school?
They can call the dance school, which is my phone number, and I get all those calls. 977-6525. There you go. We're ready to have those conversations now. I'd love to show the building. If someone has an idea of a reception or something that they would like to do, I'd be glad to give a tour right now. Talk about what kind of space is available. We still have a couple procedural things we've got to do to get squared away with licensing and things, and get our exits and entrances right before we're ready to use it. But it's coming soon, and I guess it's a blessing that it all happened the way it did, because it happened when nothing else could happen during the building. And we've had great contractors. Mike Rowley did all the electric work and his team, and they worked in some small spaces for a long time. They did a great job with it, and you know, I'm anxious for people to enjoy it now.
Let's take a quick break, word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with more from Melanie Boggess. Hear what's coming up next for both Encore Dance and Joe B's. And thanks again to all our sponsors here at Felix E. Martin Junior Hall for all their support over the years. We're back with Melanie Boggess, the CEO, COO, ABC, BBD, 1, 2, 3, all the initials for Encore Dance, and the brand new Joe B's. So
That's right.
we're finishing up construction there.
Yes.
And we're going forward with opening as soon as the world sort of reopens. Do we know how the dance studio plans fit into the big scheme of reopening?
Well, yes and no is the answer to that.
Okay.
Looking at, we're categorized as indoor youth sports. So the rules for that, along with social distancing, temperature checks, involve staying 6 feet apart, not touching common surfaces, closing the water fountain, closing the waiting area, temperature checks as they come in, not standing in line in proximity, and several things that are a challenge. Not so much for older students, but for little ones, that's impossible.
Right.
So we've had a teacher meeting, the teachers and I, and talked about what we will do, how that would look. How will that look given these guidelines and the way we run our classes? So we decided to create a survey, which we did, and we sent the survey out and got back some great responses. Overwhelmingly, the kids are ready to come back to dance. Overwhelmingly. I think the percentage was 98%. They want to come back. Some don't want to come back if they have to wear a mask. Some will not come back if they have to wear a mask. I personally have great reservation about young people having a mask over their face while they're exerting themselves. I think that's not safe. I don't want to come back until we can have it be the experience that they know, the experience that they can enjoy. Very soon we're going to be bringing our teenagers back, though, because they need to be getting in conditioning, or we're not going to be able to have a good season. So while some of them, I'm sure, have been disciplined and have been walking and stretching and getting some daily exercise, I'm guessing a few of them maybe have been eating chips and not doing so much of that. So it's important for us to get the teenagers back. We're talking now about crafting some classes that are around the perimeter of the room, so that we use all the space in the room and everyone can have enough space, and we can do some conditioning that way just to get back. The young children's classes are tricky because we rely on the parents' support to get them in there. Some of those young kids really need that support, knowing that their adult is in the hallway just a bit away. I think it's too much to ask right now. Things are just not aligned so that we can make that a good experience for them. And I don't want it to be an experience that is so foreign to them that they lose the joy of coming.
Right.
So that's going to have to happen in a couple phases, I think. Some of the families really want to get in a little vacation now that some of the world is opening, and they would really rather wait till August. I look for us to get back, and this is a news flash, because I haven't answered the survey yet.
Scoop.
I look for us to get back 1st of August, and we will have to redivide our class schedules so that all of our classes are small. That changes everything because we do have some large classes. I'm thinking we probably will need to hire another teacher. So I'll be looking for another teacher to add to staff. Ms. Lauren Whitaker is out on maternity leave. Her little boys, Felix and Finley, she's spending time with them. So a lot of things are happening, but I guess what I want the families and students to know is we're on it. We will dance, and it will happen. Now, there are lots of details, like we ordered costumes for these children, and their children, and they grew. So I'm in conversation with several costume companies that we ordered from, finding out, we're getting information back from the survey about which costumes they've outgrown, who can still fit in their costume. Gosh, it's been months ago. Some of these costumes were ordered last December. So, and we will figure it out. Many of the families have really wanted me to give them what's going to happen, what's the plan, but we can't make a plan. We can't make an ironclad plan because we're not the decision makers in the plan. Right. So once the availability comes down, then we will figure it out because the show must go on, right?
And it will.
And whatever costumes fit, great. We may have to do a fundraiser to help those families that have got to buy another costume. And if we need to do that, that's what we'll do. If we can trade them around and I can buy one that's 3 sizes too big and take it apart and resew it, that's what we'll do. We'll do whatever we've got to do. So the answer is yes, and I don't know when, but it will.
That's all anybody can say right now.
Right.
I mean, everybody we've had on here, it's the same answer. Yes, but don't know when or how just yet.
Right.
And everybody's working on it.
Right.
And it changes all the time.
Right.
I've never had a doubt in all the years I've known you that you'll make sure it happens. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
it will happen. So
definitely.
I have no doubt at this point that will be the same. So.
Well, it's important. It's important to the kids. They plan for their recital. Grandparents fly in from other states. It's a big deal in their life.
Mm.
And it's the thing that keeps them working every week. They get tired of doing the same routines and the same exercises, but that muscle memory and that repetition working toward our performances, that's part of it. That muscle memory protects them from being nervous and anxious, and they miss that. They miss coming. They miss seeing their friends, of course. But what they need to hear right now is adults are going to take care of it. We're going to take care of it. You will have your show. You'll wear that costume or some costume, and it will be fine. We got you. We know it's important. We have some seniors graduating this season, and ordinarily, Aaliyah's been dancing, Aaliyah Harrell, since she was a little girl. She has dreamed about this senior piece that she's choreographed in her mind for years. I mean, for years she's been talking to me about this piece that she wants to do for years. And
isn't that wonderful?
It is wonderful.
It is wonderful.
It is wonderful. And that it's something that's in her heart to do. I want her to have that opportunity to do it. Now we may have to bring her back from Murray. Go Racers. Okay, whatever. Not my school.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever. We're proud of her. We may have to bring her back from Murray to do it. We may have to rehearse that thing on the weekends, but it'll be fine, and we'll get it. Don't go borrowing tomorrow's troubles.
Wisdom.
Good. Yeah.
From
There
LB.
you have it.
There's always wisdom from LB, and it's one of the reasons we like to have you around. So.
Thanks.
Anything we haven't talked about today that you want to share with our viewers?
Let's see. Really proud of the work I do with All American Dachshund Rescue. All the little wiener dogs that we can find. All American Dachshund Rescue is a nonprofit that I support and work with. And we take dachshunds that need surgeries and have behavior issues, have health issues, get them fixed up, get them in a foster home, and find them a home. And more often than people realize, I'm driving little wiener dogs different places. I like to be the lady that helps the wiener dogs. It's a great organization.
When you said earlier about coming from Maine with the big U-Haul and 2 little dogs, I wondered how many little dogs had been in your vehicle since that time. And so,
Well, a lot.
A lot, right?
And I should throw a shout out to my awesome daughter, Maria. Love you, Ree, who, this is like a second home to her at Martin Hall. She's looking forward to some kind of career in technical theater, and
It's her
Cannot
away
wait.
from home up there.
cannot wait to get back in the hall and clean up some sawdust.
I can't wait to have her help here either.
Can't
I
wait.
need the help.
The spotlight booth has
Hopefully
missed
soon.
her for
Yeah.
sure. The divine Miss M that she is. We love having
She's
her
a good
here.
kid. She's the best thing I ever did.
And speaking of which, you mentioned earlier that there is a career and you can go on and feed yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In this industry, doing all kinds of different things. I worked with a kid. He's 19 years old. This past weekend, who helped us at the drive-in Beaver Dam concert with the Headhunters. He had been on tour with Jesus Christ Superstar, as a matter of fact, at 19, and one of the technical directors for that crew. Large show, and it was. He was great to work with. And I'm like, how old are you? He's 19. I said, well, how did you get started? He said, well, just being a kid and helping out backstage.
Right.
Is where
Just the willingness to jump in.
in Owensboro,
Sure.
helping out backstage at
Awesome.
TWO or the River Park or wherever he could find. He could volunteer and help.
I'm pretty excited that our kids have that chance now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Just this year's group of seniors to see so many of them going off and getting into the arts.
Well, and I should mention that I had a couple other seniors who jumped into our dance program here in the last year of their senior year. Jacob and Kaylee Joe, and here at the last minute hopped in there just to gain some skills.
Yeah.
But exciting to have those kids. What we do is important. And right now the arts are under attack, and not much money going to trickle down for the arts. If things like this are important in your family, we need to be more vocal. We need to be more vocal and say, these lessons, these opportunities, this creative outlet is important to our young people. It helps them grow. It keeps them grounded. It makes them feel included. It's important, and we need to be more vocal about that.
I think a lot of our problem-solving skills and other disciplines and knowledge that we had, we learned from marching band.
Sure.
So.
Right. Along with picking up a piece of grass and going like that, and make a whistle sound.
Important life skills like that.
Right.
That's what I'm referring to. So.
Right.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us today. It's always great to see you. It's always great to have you back here in the building.
Thank you, guys.
It's been too long.
It's been good to see you.
Been looking
been
forward
good to see you.
Getting you back here on a more regular basis, hopefully soon.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks for all you do, and for all the kids whose lives you've shaped over the years here, and the ones that you'll continue to shape.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We look forward to seeing you again next time as we continue to live our lives 6 feet apart.